Hi, I'm Maya, and today I want to talk about red books that you can put on your rainbow bookshelf. So rainbow bookshelves are really in right now. They're all over Pinterest. I have a friend who has one. I think they're very cute, but I personally could never have a rainbow bookshelf because that would require separating books from the same series, and that would physically pain me to do that. I love keeping series together. And another reason why I don't think the rainbow bookshelf would work for my books is because I have a lot of books that are black, gray, silver, and those aren't rainbow colors. But I do have a lot of red books, and that's why I wanted to make this video to talk about them and to give you some ideas of books that you can get if your red section of your rainbow bookshelf is a little sparse. The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. So the cover isn't really red, but the spine is. This is a fantastic book full of magic, romance. It's about two magicians who are rivals and they have their proteges in a competition against each other, but the proteges start to fall in love. It's a very mysterious book, very dark and brooding and lovely. Erin Morgenstern is a great author. I also recommend The Starless Sea by her. This one, it's not red though, so just don't worry about it right now, but it is really good. Okay, next we have Dracula by Bram Stoker, one of the OG horror novels. It's told mostly in the form of journals and letters, which I wasn't expecting when I first started it, but I think it's a very unique and creative way to tell a story. And even though it's an old book, and I think books have gotten scarier as time has gone on, there are parts of this book that are really scary and still hold up in terms of creepiness. This one's perfect for a Halloween read or whenever you're in a spooky mood. This next one is The Dire King by William Ritter. It is the third book in the series, I think. Oh no, the fourth book. It's the fourth book. So the series is called Jacoby, and it's about a detective who specializes in the fantastical. So he investigates like vampires and fairies and all of those fun fairy tale creatures. And the story is narrated by his assistant, and the books are really, really good. I really love them. They're quick reads. There are a lot of really charming characters. The main character, Jacoby, is a lot like Sherlock Holmes in his quirkiness, so he's very easy to fall in love with. And all of the books have a really good mystery, especially this one, and it's just really fun to try and guess what the ending is going to be while you're reading it. It's a very unique series, and I really love it. Now we have The Lives of Saints by Leigh Bardugo. This is an absolutely gorgeous book full of beautiful illustrations. So it's just full of stories about the fictional saints that Leigh Bardugo mentions in her other books. So this isn't really like a part of her other series, like the Six of Crows series or the Shadow and Bone series, but it is connected and it is basically just building lore for that world. Just stunning illustrations and beautifully written stories, and I highly recommend it. If you're a fan of Leigh Bardugo and you haven't read this, you should definitely read it. So speaking of Leigh Bardugo, I have two of her books here. So this one, Ruin and Rising, is the third and final book in her Shadow and Bone trilogy. And I guess it's kind of black over the top, but it's red on the bottom, so we'll count it. And it's red on the cover. Yeah, this series is so much fun. There's a cool love triangle. There's a lot of world building, especially in the first book in the series, about the Grisha and their powers and the country of Ravka and how it functions politically and militarily. There's a lot of magic, fantasy elements. There are also a lot of funny moments, a great cast of characters, a very unique magic system. Overall, it's just a very special series and a very special book. Okay, this one by Leigh Bardugo is Crooked Kingdom, and it's the second book in the Six of Crows duology. And I know you're looking at it, you're like, this isn't red, but look at the pages. And if you take the dust jacket off, it's red, and it has a cute little crow on it. And the spine is very pretty. I personally like the Six of Crows duology more than I like the Shadow and Bone trilogy, just because I like the characters more. Kaz Brekker is one of my favorite characters of all time, and Inej is amazing. I love their romance. I love the whole squad, the whole gang of crows. They're amazing. And I like that those books, Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, are both heist books, and I think that's just something I'm more interested in. The Shadow and Bone trilogy is more straight fantasy, more what you would expect in a typical fantasy series, but I like Crooked Kingdom and Six of Crows because it's more unexpected and has more of like a gritty feel to it. I just really enjoy that. So yeah, this book is super red. This would be perfect for the red section of a rainbow bookshelf. Next up, we have Enna Burning by Shannon Hale. It is the second book in her Books of Bayern series. The first book in the series, Goose Girl, is one of my favorite books of all time. I have read it so many times. I just think it's so beautifully written, and it's such a great retelling of the Goose Girl fairy tale. And then I like how she took that and then made it a series and made it a whole world with other characters and other stories, just based off of that one fairy tale retelling. I think that's really cool. So Enna was a side character in the Goose Girl and like one of the best characters ever, spunky and fearless and amazing. So I'm really glad she gets her own book and that she gets to be front and center. And she grows a lot in this book. I would say this book is a little bit darker than the Goose Girl. There are some more serious elements to it, but it's still very similar to the Goose Girl in style and writing. So if you like the Goose Girl, you'll love Enna Burning and the rest of the series. So in the Books of Bayern world, there are people who have supernatural powers. It's set like in more of a medieval setting. In the first book, the Goose Girl, she can talk to birds and she can control the wind. And then in this book, Enna, she can control fire. So it's about her learning how to use her powers, and it's a very cool story. And speaking of fairy tale retellings, we have Six Crimson Cranes by Elizabeth Lim. And there is an entire video about this book on my channel. You can check it out. I talk more about the book in depth. It's a great story. The sequel is coming out this month and I can't wait to read it. The cover doesn't look red, but once I take the dust jacket off, you'll see that it is. There we go. Isn't it lovely? It's actually very similar to the Crooked Kingdom book. They both have birds engraved on their covers, which is fun. Okay, the second to last book I'm going to talk about is Seeing Red by Frank Bedore. I'm not sure how to say his last name. It is the second book in the Looking Glass Wars series, and it's honestly been a while since I've read it. I think it's more for a younger audience, like more middle grade, but it's really good. And I wanted to read the back of the first book just so you get an idea of what the series is about. So this is the first book, The Looking Glass Wars, and it says, Wonderland is real. Alice Hart is the heir to the throne until her murderous Aunt Red steals the crown and kills Alice's parents. To escape Red, Alice and her bodyguard, Hatter Madigan, must flee to our world through the Pool of Tears. But in the pool, Alice and Hatter are separated. Lost and alone in Victorian London, Alice is befriended by an aspiring author, to whom she tells the violent, heartbreaking story of her young life. Yet he gets the story all wrong. Hatter Madigan knows the truth only too well, and he is searching every corner of our world to find the lost princess and return her to Wonderland, so she may battle Red for her rightful place as the Queen of Hearts. So yeah, it's a really good series, especially if you're an Alice in Wonderland fan like I am. You'll really enjoy this special retelling of it. There are fun twists and turns and fun references to characters and places and events in the original Alice in Wonderland story that are cool to notice as a fan. I guess the spine is more red than the cover. So yeah, Seeing Red, and even has red in the name. And the last one I'm going to talk about is The Night Country by Melissa Albert. This is the sequel to The Hazel Wood, which is such a good book. It's so creepy and spooky and has that same fairy tale fun that I've been talking about with a lot of these books, but it's set in a modern contemporary time period. And it's not based off of any Grimm's fairy tales or any other existing fairy tales. Melissa Albert makes up her own, and they're very, very spooky and scary. I also recommend the collection of short stories. Oh, my whole thing just fell away. So yeah, The Hazelwood is the first one. The Tales from the Hinterland is a collection of short stories, little fairy tales. So yeah, all 3 of these are amazing. But we're talking about the Night Country right now specifically. I really liked reading this book because it felt fun to return to that world of the Hazelwood that I hadn't been to in a while, and just to go even deeper into the world and into the main character Alice's background and history. Yeah, so there's red on the cover a little bit, but it's red when you take the dust jacket off. There we go. I'm seeing a pattern here with red books that they have a fun little engraving on the cover. This one is a flower with thorns. Okay, so this is very heavy, but these are 10 red books for the red section of your rainbow bookshelf. I hope that even if you don't have a rainbow bookshelf and if you're not looking for more red books for that specifically, I hope you still give all of these books a read because they're so much fun and so well written. I just really love all of them. And I'm gonna put them down now because they're really heavy, but thank you so much for watching.